So here we are. Welcome to what will be the last show for a little while. I actually really enjoy doing these shows, and I absolutely totally love getting the videos together and recording them and getting them sorted. But it's come a point at the moment I've got that much on that I need to focus on other things, because I haven't really got the time to do this, and I certainly haven't got the time to promote it properly. But it will be back. There's no doubt about that. This is not the end. It's just a kind of pause. It's a pause, that's the word. We're going to pause for a little while, and we're going to focus all our efforts onto our outdoor experiences, because that's where we need to be. That's what the world needs. It's what I need. And we just know that when we get people out on them, things happen, and we really score some amazing goals for humanity. And as far as I can see at the moment, concentrating on scoring goals for humanity is a really important thing to do. Just had a message come through. Apparently the Russians have seized Chernobyl. And we know it's important, this crisis, because it's in the MCN this week. Motorcycle News have reported on it, mainly because apparently it's one of the reasons why the fuel costs have gone up. Hence the reason it's in Motorcycle News, because that's my main source of knowledge of current affairs these days. And so I know it must be important, although my son's keeping me up to date with it a little bit. But yes, so scoring goals for humanity. And as I just mentioned, one of the ways we're looking to do that is to take people out in the countryside. Now, I went tootling off into the countryside earlier this week because, well, do you know, I needed it. I needed some outside. I needed some fresh air. I needed some awesome space. I'd been out first thing in the morning and seen lots of snowdrops and lots of primroses. I'm probably actually repeating some of the stuffs in the video, so it is what it is. And I thought, I'm going to go out and shoot some more. So I started off with that amazing idea, and it kind of worked out slightly differently. So I think what I'm going to do is to straight into the video, and then you can see that, and it will explain it. And then, of course, I also will then stop telling you what's already in the video. So enjoy.
Never let you go.
Hello, Simon here. Came out to the woods today, having seen primroses and snowdrops, and I also saw today the first blackthorn blossom. But I come to the woods that's usually full of primroses and snowdrops, and I'll shoot a video about how life is really kicking in after Incailloch, which was 2 weeks ago. And in the woods there's no primrose flowers and there's no snowdrops, but what there is some amazing oak trees. So come with me on a little journey where we're going to explore the mighty oak tree. Enjoy. See you soon. There are trees in the wood that stand out above all others. This has to be one of the most amazing trees that's helped to shape the English landscape. This is an oak. Look at this amazing specimen. Well, there's no leaves on them. You can really see the way that the branches kind of twist and get the shape that they do. What an amazing, amazing tree.
by looking at the bark. If we get closer, you can see the bark here is really ridged. And it's pretty rough. It's not the kind of stuff you want to slide down because it would remove most of your skin. That's one thing. But also, when you look up, you can see they kind of have all these twisted angles and shapes in the branches. That's kind of typical oak tree. If you look on the ground, even in winter, and there's been a lot of wind, you'll see leaves. And the leaves that are on the ground are just as good at telling you which tree they came from as the leaves, which are green, that you see in summer. And probably most of us know what an oak tree leaf looks like. And there's one centre picture right now. Now if you can just see there, running through in the background, it's a buzzard. Said that there are over 150 different species that make their living from an oak tree, and one of them here you can see growing right up the trunk. Now people will tell you that ivy's terrible and you must get it off the tree, it'll kill the tree, and eventually it probably will, but I kind of think that providing it's not doing any real damage, ivy's a bonus. There's more species in the togetherness, in the relationship between ivy and the tree, than either actually sustain on their own. So there's a kind of symbiotic relationship. Even if not for the two, it's definitely not totally parasitic. One of the other most amazing things about oak trees is that without them, quite probably our history would be very different. You see, when the Spanish Armada came during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, all of the English ships were made of good old English oak. And of course, we won the battle against the Spanish Armada. That's pretty cool, don't you think? Now, of course, one of the other most amazing things about the kind of life that an oak tree supports, I mean, you could say any big tree, but there's something amazing about putting a swing of any kind on a large tree. So whether it's a delicate lady of Georgian and Edwardian times, who would have a very carefully, daintily structured seat in a tree, or whether it's a rubber tyre that's used quite often nowadays in our woods, they're great for children of all ages to have a real swing around in the woods. And look at that, just for this tale of the old oak, finally the sun has come out.
kind of caught me out there, did. I was sitting there and I was quite enjoying that video. I thought, well, I like that one. One of those kind of almost everything was the first take. In fact, it was. Everything was first take. I didn't shoot any video twice. Blow my own trumpet. Well, why not? So the Mighty Oak, rather dramatic music, I thought as well. And you know what? I kind of like that. It was kind of worked. Oaks are dramatic trees. So always some dramatic music. And actually, for the second part of Incailloch, which will be coming along in a little while, you know, the music for that's kind of quite dramatic as well. So, yeah, dramatic. We're going to take a very big dramatic pause for a while. So that's dead cool. So, I kind of like oak trees. Didn't even get into the Celtic Ogham on that one, but that's a whole story for another day. And you might have clocked any opportunity to get a buzzard in, and we're going to have to go for it. We tend to. Saw an amazing buzzard this morning, actually, when I was out the walk. I was out a little later today, kind of changed the routine. My good little wife also got up a little early, so we had a cuppa and a bit of a chat, and I went out afterwards. And we just got over the top by the folly, and I've seen a couple of buzzards take off. That was pretty awesome, just to see them anyway. But then one of them came from up by the church and went pretty much all the way down to the field, about half a metre to a metre off the ground. And not that far away, so you could really see all the kind of the different shades of brown, really see the wings flapping. And because of daylight, obviously had my binoculars and made full use of them. And that was just spectacular. It's just the most amazing bird in the most amazing landscape. You know, and I like to think they're out there just for me. They're probably not, but yeah. So that was pretty cool. And as we say, buzzard day is always a good day. And it has been a good day. It's one of those, I've got a list of stuff and I've just been on it. I've just sort of sat down and pretty much, bar for about maybe 20 minutes today, just sat down and gone for it. Absolutely gone for it. I wasn't planning to be in the office today. I've actually been out on the road, but as we've had kind of like all 5 seasons in one day today, had hailstones earlier, and Ross came back from work, my son, and he got a picture of snow. And there's snow where he was working. And we've had sunshine, and we've had wind, and we've had rain. So, man, my day got kind of a bit kiboshed, and I found myself in the office, and I've just gone for it like a Trojan. The only issue I did have, to be fair, was trying to sort through my photo file, because I've got too many in there because I haven't been sorting them out. I've got way too many on my phones. I need to get rid of those. And the computer tied itself up in knots. So, and I went into the emails and they'd all deleted. My inbox was empty. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I have an empty inbox. Well, thankfully, most of them had just been put into the deleted files folder. There's over 2,000 of them in there, so I need to get shot with that. And I think I've got the majority of them back, but I'm going to give it a week. Of course, what could I not find? The email with the link to this show on it. Oh dear. So I then went into my own personal emails where I've also got that email, and I went in, and you know, as I went in, it vanished in front of me. Oh crikey, I thought. 2 email addresses, 2 emails, and both of them have gone away. Well, I'm thinking, don't panic, there's nothing you can do about it. Well, there is things you can do about it. Just be calm, and quite often it's kind of the best thing to do is to be calm, because if you stay calm, it's easier to get stuff done and you find it without getting into a panic and a fluster and a bluster. And you know what? One of my guests came on and I got the email saying, one of your guests has entered the waiting room. So I thought, well, that's pretty handy. And then I actually got a WhatsApp message saying, Lair's in, because I hadn't. So when I got the reminder come through, and it got a link on it as well, so I clicked on that and we pinged in through that way. So 3 different options, and thankfully one of them worked, because otherwise, well, you'd be sitting there doing something else, because I wouldn't be here doing this. Are you keeping it up? So, amazing books. Every book I've had so far has been a textbook. Today I've got a little bit different. It's one of the books, if you like, that kind of was there at the start of my journey into birds and the outdoors, And I actually remember I bought this book in 95 or 96. 95, I went to Russia and I did the practical work for my dissertation. I'm pretty sure it was 95 because that year we went with myself and Ross's mum, went away for a 3-week holiday and we finished it off at Minsmere. Now, when I was out in Russia, we spent a lot of our time on a fish farm near a village called Ozerny in Belarus. It's a bit near where that conflict's going on. And there've been an awful lot of birds. And we've worked with marsh harriers and Montagu's harriers. And on this fish farm, there've been over 130 odd species of birds living. And we've been totting them up in our journal. And I kind of quite got into the birds. And we came back, we were in Minsmere and signed up as a member of the RSPB. And one of the things you got then as a member of the RSPB was a guidebook of British wildlife. So I've had this book now for 95, 2005 to 15, something like 27 years. 27 years since I was in Russia. That's mad. But anyway, it's got a lot of birdie pictures in it, and it's had a lot of use. And as you can see, it's somewhat beaten up, and some of the plastic and stuff's coming off. It's always a good sign of a book when it's got a bit dog-eared and a bit kind of chewed, because it's been in and out of bags, been treated with love, and it's funny. All the pictures of the birds are just big enough with just enough information to really be useful. Being wildlife, it's also got others. I mean, I've used it for trying to work out sometimes what plants and things are, or even other little rodents. It's got mice in it. It's been a really cool book. One of the things you need to try and, if you're looking to buy a guidebook, is always try and get one that's got painted pictures of the animals rather than photographs. Because with photographs, unless the light is really right, sometimes the colours are a bit off, a bit not quite right. So always try and go for one that's got painted pictures. As you can see, these are artist drawings rather than photos. And it just means that the book is really cool. Now, do you know what? Look, just open it up and there's the page with buzzard on it. That's really cool because we like buzzards. So if you're able to get out in the countryside, that's really cool. You need a guidebook for that. But also, if you spend your time at home because you can't get out, then having a guidebook for, put it on the windowsill can also be really cool. Because even if you know most of the birds that come into your garden, there's always from time to time going to be the ones that don't. So it's kind of quite helpful to be able to work out what some of they are. Some of they, some of them, which is dead good. Yeah, maybe I should have had this one earlier in January when we did the big garden bird watch. But that's a whole other story. I've even now got one, the Tractor Cab Guide to Farmland Birds, which I picked up a couple of weeks ago at Fraser's, when we went out and did a little bit of a farmland bird expedition, which was pretty cool. So anyway, guidebooks, really essential things. So, but maybe just run through one or two bits and pieces just for news value. I had a one-to-one with my coach this morning, and I actually managed to fill up the whole of an A5 sheet of paper with all the bits and pieces that are happening. So those that I can remember, we've got a meeting next week with the gentleman who's going to be setting up the project at Waterslade Woods. That could be really cool. We've got meetings with people from Dover District Council for grants. I had a fellow called Simon phone me today from from East Kent Mind. That's really cool. No, it was South Kent Mind. That's really cool. We've had a lady get in touch this week who'd like us to run some of our events on her farm. She's got an ecological farm. That's really cool. Educational life, so we'll be picking up the ball and getting some things together. So that's really cool. We've had more contact with Gina Bradbury Fox about the Outdoor Globe website. We should have some articles on there pretty soon. And she's the sister of Julia Bradbury, who's the TV presenter. And how did that come about? I asked her. That's pretty cool. And got an event, a big Be Bold, Go Green event in March. That's pretty exciting. It's just sometimes you've got to take the bull by the horns and you've got to make things happen. And that's ultimately why for a little while the show's going to have to take a bit of a backseat, because there just isn't, well, when you're putting a lot of effort and a lot of energy into something that's new, no matter how good it is, you've got to put all that energy in to get as many things moving and floating and off the ground as you possibly can, because obviously not all of them will drop in, but fair few should. So that's been really, really cool. So yeah, I'm going to come to the end now. What we've got here is part 2 of Incailloch. Some pretty cool footage of some pretty amazing views. It's a little bit of my amazing wife. And you know what? There's some seriously dramatic music in this one as well. Because amazing places should have a little bit of drama. It doesn't have to be wildly exciting drama, just a little bit of drama. So there you go. So you're going to enjoy this one. It's part 2 of Incailloch. And just let's bring this up now. And here we go, ready to rock and roll.
Never let you go.
Churchyard of the church of the parish of Incailloch, which, although the church and the island were abandoned in the 17th century, the churchyard remained in use through the 20th. There's a grave in 1917 of the Reverend McGregor. Probably have heard me talk before about the size of a root ball compared to the size of a tree. Well, right here we've got a fallen ash tree and a fallen oak tree, and you can probably tell which is which because the ash is the one that's in the foreground with a very much thinner trunk and effectively a tiny root ball, whereas behind it you have an oak with a slightly larger circumference to its trunk, bigger, heavier on top. But look at the size of the root ball, it's massive. Now we probably anticipate that's because of the rock that it was standing on. Quite probably it's also because an oak tends to live for an awful lot longer. And maybe if you're planning to live for a long time, you need to be setting the best set of foundations and roots that you possibly can. There's got to be a lesson we can all learn there.
So there you go. That was the end. Now it's a bit powerful, that music, but I do like that bit of music we had there at the end. It's one of those when the drums come in and you're just like, whoa, this is cool. And it might not be the perfect piece of music for that, but I think it is. I liked it. I loved it. And you know what? When you're putting it all together, that's cool. So, yeah, that's it then. For the moment, this is temporarily the end. But it's not the end at all. It's just a kind of pause. It's kind of hiatus. And when we've got these walks, these outdoor experiences really, really cracking, we're going to be back, because when they're moving properly, we're going to have a bit more time and we'll focus on that then. So, yeah, thank you very much. And I'm going to look forward to seeing you really, really soon. Thank you very much indeed.